The Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike, has reacted to the Supreme Court's ruling ordering the Central Bank of Nigeria and all other financial institutions to halt all forms of payment to the Rivers State government until the sitting governor, Siminalayi Fubara, represents the state's budget to the Martin Amewule led House of Assembly. So before we delve into the news this evening, let's listen to the response of the FCT Minister. Of course, after that, we'll bring you the news. Let's take a listen.
There is nothing like Amewule faction. What the Supreme Court said, the budget should be presented to the properly constituted Assembly, which is the authentic leadership of the Assembly led by Martin Chike Amewule. But first of all, let's give God the glory, let's give God the honor that today, being the 28th of February 2025, God am able to do it all for everybody, for the interest of the people of the state. I've always said that the will of justice is sluggish, but it will come when it will come. More than 15 months, 16 months, this matter has been laid to rest by the highest court of the land. The only thing that can happen now is for anybody to appeal to God. If there's an opportunity for you to appeal to God, Supreme Court has made it very clear that you cannot have a democracy without a legislature. The Supreme Court has made it clear, cannot say there's a government without a legislature. It is unheard of where anybody will say 3 people will constitute an assembly to make laws for the entire state. It's unheard of. It has nothing to do with an individual, whether you like this person's face or not. But it is what is important is that can 3 people make law for a state? Not to even talk about the appropriation. The Federal High Court said, look, you can't do this. You cannot do it. And therefore, set aside everything they've done. 3 people will screen commissioners. 3 people will all kinds of things. A governor will go and bring down a house of legislature and will do as if nothing has happened. The arm of government, independent arm of government. And people pretend as if nothing has gone wrong. And you're talking about wiki. It's not about wiki. It's not about me. What we are saying is, can you, for whatever it is, go and demolish the building of another arm of government? No consequences. Then you carry the legislator to your own house, not even carrying the proper legislature. 3 people to sit inside government house, begin to make laws, begin to pass an appropriation bill. And you are spending money, and you say nothing will happen. You want an appeal. Court of Appeal said this is wrong. We can't continue with this. Petitions were written against the justices, Federal High Court. Monteshaw gave the judgment. Abdul Malik gave judgment. Look, having not have any appropriation, you cannot expend money. Petition. And that's what we see in this country. When you say something, people will begin to carry blackmail and will fall trap to that. So for me, it is happiness for Rivers people. It's happiness for Nigerians that yes, that person says this impunity must stop. Enough is enough. We can't continue with this. You are aware when the issue of local government came up, a governor elected who had taken oath to abide by the Constitution came out to say that's a corrupt judgment, castigating the judiciary. But thank God, today the Appellate Court has said it all. Go back. You have no budget. Central Bank, Accountant General, you cannot continue to release money when there's no government until you present your budget to the appropriate assembly, which is the 27 members. No money should be released. You refuse to follow the Electoral Act in terms of conducting local government election. What was the issue? INEC don't relieve voter registration if you don't comply. We then call game order. You said no, you will not obey. And Nigerians were clapping. People like Atiku were hailing him that yes, you've done well. I hope they will also hail him today. I hope the chairman of PDP Governors Forum will also hail him today. Because if Supreme Court has come out to say enough is enough, we must not truncate our democracy. If you have allowed this, one day, one member will constitute an assembly. And there's nothing you can do. One member. You can imagine 10 people. One said is the speaker. So two people are now the ones. I mean, it's unheard of. So it has not to do with a wiki. We must commend the judiciary for being bold, for being firm, to say no, this should not be allowed. This impunity must not be allowed. I've told people that Rivers State is not like any other state. We are not prisoners of war. We are not conquered. We must challenge anything we know that's illegal. We will not allow it. Anything, it's not, you can do that in any other state. But as far as Rivers State is concerned, we will not allow it. It doesn't matter what time it takes us. Yes. Look at how the assembly members since their salaries, allowances for how many years now? Because they are carrying out their function. So for us, not just happy, we're happy that the right thing has been done. All we have prayed, we say, look, nobody should go into violence, no fighting, allow the law to take its course. I know that the law will take its course, but when? But when? Oh, thank God, they say they defected. Supreme Court said, no, it's not correct. Where's the defection? It's not correct. Hiring 40 senior advocates is not the issue. And I commend our legal team. I commend Chief Wolo Olanitogo. I commend Chief J.B. Daudu, Jamanze, SN, Ferdinand Tobi, Onoja, SN, S.C. Horn, Musa, for being committed, not money, committed to the job. Lawyers who know, not television lawyers, not channel television lawyers, who will finish from court, the next time they will go to the channels to begin to pontificate. Today, Supreme Court has silenced them. Pontificate in court, not in the television. So I commend our lawyers for a job well done. How dare you say, yeah, you can disobey, you disobey Federal High Court, you disobey Court of Appeal, that does not mean that this one, Supreme Court, then you're inviting anarchy. If you don't obey Supreme Court, then nobody will respect any court order. And what that means that is violence. But I know you must be his right senses now to know that, look, the end has come. He cannot. He cannot. He cannot. All those commissioners, his 3 members, they're all gone. They're not commissioners. They're not commissioners. But they never existed in the first place. I'm sure the so-called Attorney General will know that. He will not go and say he's the Attorney General of the state again. He knows the consequences of saying that. He knows that is gone. So I pray and I don't wish him that he should say he will not obey. First of all, how will he not obey the Supreme Court? I mean, I don't even want to think about it. It's not in a contemplation at all. First of all, I mean, as a politician, people can call your name. That's not what is important. But what's important to me that whether I'm the one or not, what you are doing, is it right? Who gets a bad man? There's no doubt. Who gets a good man? There's no doubt. Is that why 3 people should make law for a state? That's the issue. That's the issue. It's not about me. It's about you doing the right thing. Upholding the Constitution which you swore out of office. You are trying to destroy it. In fact, he had an opportunity. President gave him an opportunity. Say, look, you want to destroy this democracy, we all fought. We will not allow you. Go and do this, go and do this. And he agreed. But I know that he will not. He thinks that it's too smart. And that opportunity was gone. Now, what it also means is to tell those who are governors that, look, this democracy is not for you alone. Democracy is for everybody. You can't continue to play as if you are God. You must play by the rules. You must play by the rules. You can say, oh, I will do this. Nothing will happen. We agree. But something will happen. Just like it has happened today. You know, you think when you're an authority, you can buy a way. No, it's not like there must be a bus stop. And this is a bus stop. A bus stop. All these people who are telling you nothing will happen, will have a way, will carry money. Money goes to a point that there will be a blockage. No, you cannot walk. And Supreme Court has shown it today. No, we won't do it. We must allow things to be correct for this country to move forward. For us, for this democracy to survive, things must be done very correct. Not you just bulldoze your way because you're in the authority, I'm a governor. No. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody says you shouldn't exercise the powers of the governor. But it must be exercised constitutionally as the law provides. The law didn't say because you're a governor. You go and bring down the building of an arm of government and then carry 3 people to a house for them to legislate for the state. Like what Supreme Court said there's no government in River State. And what does that tell you? Yeah. Government has collapsed in River State. Allow the legislature to operate. Obey the Supreme Court judgment. Go and present your budget. The legislature means well for the people. It's not about you carrying sacrifice, carrying judicial merchants who will tell you, we have contact here, we have contact there, I was there before, I am there. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So my recommendation, River people have been very peaceful, have been patient. And let them continue to be patient. But the right thing must be done, that's all, nothing more. Nothing more. Go and present a budget. Okay, tell me. You expanded 2024 budget without appropriation. I mean, you expanded money without appropriation. Who does that? Who does that? That one man who spend billions, trillions of naira without legislature approving it. What can be considered infraction more than that? Just look at it. You sat on your own, spending state's money without any legislative approval. It has never happened. Do you need anybody now to tell you that the governor has committed impeachable offense? Even if the chief judge, for example, is his friend, what can the chief judge do now? The Supreme Court has said there was no budget. And you want to expend the money. Assuming the legislature want to commence an impeachment proceeding, what will the chief judge do? He will say, even if you bring your son or your daughter as a panel now, you can't do anything. Supreme Court have pronounced that, look, this is an abomination. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. Yes, the chief judge was part of people who, aiding him. So even if now the assembly wants to, which I may not advise them, I won't advise them. But assuming they want to, what can you do now? He appointed commissioner without legislative backing. You demolish an arm of government building. I hope people like Femi Falana will appear in Channels Television today. I hope. I'm calling his name. He will come. I'm calling him personally to pontificate law on this. I hope he will appear. If what was Supreme Court said, not me. Not me. I never said it's Supreme Court that says so. It's not me. It's about him going to the legislature to do the right thing. The post office, it's not about me now. It's him. I told you, a whole president of the country intervened. A president of the country said, look, go and do this, go and do this. Yet, you disobey the president of the country. Which other leader can you now say, bigger than the president? If you can disobey the president, which other leader? President of the country. Give without opportunity. Go and do this. You go and do this. These people who complied. You refuse to comply. Which other leaders, when you say of the state, which leaders now? Is it well, I don't want to call it anybody. Yes.
And that is the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike praising the Supreme Court for that particular ruling in which he said puts to bed the crisis in Rivers State. And of course, in that particular video, he accused the sitting governor of Rivers State of executive impunity, and he also urged Siminalayi Fubara, that is the governor of the state, to present the state's budgets to the Martin Ameule-led House of Assembly. And in his closing, he accused Fubara of also executive deviancy, if I could put it that way, for having disobeyed the president of Nigeria, that is Bola Tinubu. So we are going to be chronicling this and having so many reactions to this right here on News Central Television. Is something you want to pay attention to even as we bring these to you. In the meantime, we continue to bring you the stories that we have for you at this particular time on the hour, where we understand that the Supreme Court of Nigeria on Friday barred the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General of the Federation from releasing statutory monthly allocations to Rivers State. The Apex Court further ordered the Martin Ameule-led faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly and other elected members of the House to immediately resume sitting unhindered. Now, our correspondent Joshua Marai was at the court and filed in this report.
Jubilation followed the recent rulings by the Supreme Court of Nigeria on the Rivers State political crisis as supporters of the Ameule-led faction burst into songs of victory at the court. The judgment, which rendered the local government elections in Rivers State invalid, also barred the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General of the Federation from releasing any funds to the Rivers State government. The council representing some of the lawmakers reacted to the landmark judgment by the Apex Court.
the implications are real. All the appointments confirmed by the House of Assembly, all the laws passed, all the budget passed are invalid. Well, with this case now, every other case is pending. We need to be subjected to this ruling. Everything on whether there was a defection or not have been covered by this judgment. The court has said today that there was no defection. Defection has not been proved. All this idea of shouting, here we differentiate between fiction and fact. The fact and the law have been presented today, and I asked that Fubara should obey. He should not wait for anybody to enforce it.
Other political stakeholders also reacted to the judgment on the crisis.
I'm happy the way the judgment came, because there are things we have learned today from the judgment, that the rule of law can never be taken for granted, not the rule of man. Anything we do in this country as politicians, we should ensure that we are standing on the rule of law.
We don't understand how those who have no role to play in our state, the likes of Ugochiere, to come and be interpreting Supreme Court rulings and Court of Appeal rulings. Today, it has been called a shenanigan and it has no place in law. The likes of Ugochiere and his co-travelers should bury their faces in shame. And to say they are anti-democrat and they are no place in our law.
Well, what else will anybody say? The justice of the matter was already with us. That's the truth of the matter. And so the resounding judgment of the Supreme Court today has cemented all of that. I mean, people should not be reckless. It is the rule of law, not strong man's morality.
The Supreme Court's ruling on the Rivers State local government elections and the 2024 budget have brought a new twist to the state political crisis. These decisions are expected to impact governance and politics in the state, reinforcing the need to follow legal procedures in government matters. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
In the meantime, the Rivers State government says it has acknowledged media reports regarding the recent judgments of the Supreme Court concerning the administration of state funds and local government matters. In a statement on Friday, the state government also says it is awaiting a detailed briefing on the full implications of the judgments. Officials stated that they will carefully assess the situation before determining the next steps in the best interest of the people of Rivers State. The government called on Rivers residents to remain calm, law-abiding, and continue with their daily activities as clarity on the judgment is sought. The state government also clarified that the issue of the defection of the 27 lawmakers is not part of the Supreme Court's current ruling. Now, the desire to hold businesses accountable and get them to align their operations with the UN goals on sustainable development led to the establishment of the UN Global Impact on July 26 in the year 2000 under the late UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. It is an initiative that currently has the buy-in of thousands of companies in over 150 countries around the globe, committing to the principles of human rights, anti-corruption, and environmental sustainability, among others. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the UN Global Impact and UN Global Compact. And to help us understand this milestone in driving companies to do business responsibly, we have here in our studios the Chief Communications Director from the UN Global Compact in New York, Dan Thomas, who also leads communication for the Global Africa Business Initiative. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for coming to our studios.
Thank you for having me.
So we understand that the UN Global Impact is an initiative that encourages businesses and organizations to adopt sustainable and social principles, responsible policies. I'd like you to give an insight into these policies and have an understanding of what roles they play.
Well, in 2000, Kofi Annan, the Secretary General of the United Nations at the time, and our founder, proposed to the private sector a global compact between companies and the United Nations, recognizing that businesses were really global brands, global companies operating, globally, not just in a national context. And he wanted to instill in these companies the idea of responsible business and principled business. So he proposed this global compact, and immediately 44 major companies, including Shell, came to him and said, we want to join this initiative and work with the United Nations on responsible business. And out of that conversation, 10 principles were proposed, as you've said, principles to do with business and human rights, protecting the rights of labour and workers, paying a living wage, for example, protecting the environment and fighting corruption. And companies sign up, CEOs sign up to these 10 principles, and then we work with them on their journey to become more sustainable and principled businesses.
So how important are these principles to the promotion of sustainable development goals?
Well, the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, they came along in 2015, and the deadline is 2030, so just 5 years' time to achieve those goals. And they've played very much into the strengths of these 10 principles. So we've already been working with companies. We had about 10,000 companies working under our Global Compact. Since then, we've actually expanded to 25,000 companies, all of whom are working with us to try and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. As you know, the world has been a difficult place recently. Conflict, the climate crisis, the COVID pandemic, all of which have served to kind of push back a lot of the progress that was already made. So we're not on track to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, but we're still moving in that direction. There's 5 years to go, and we are mobilizing the world's leading businesses and most principled business leaders to be part of that global solution.
Now, I understand that in 2020, the UN Global Compact commemorated its 20th anniversary, and now you've mentioned that the pandemic was more like a drawback on its plans to achieve more. I'd like to find out, aside that, were there other challenges? What is the adoption rates? How have you been able to scale the hurdles?
Well, actually, in the last 5 years, we've seen a major increase in companies wishing to join the UN Global Compact, partly because there's been such a push for companies and business leaders to lead the change on fighting climate change, to putting in place climate action so that their companies aren't making the problem worse, they're actually solving the problem by using things like renewable energy. And also a huge interest around social goals as well. Goals to do with fighting gender equality, making sure that women are equally represented in business, on boards, in management teams, and in the workforce. And things like paying a living wage, not just the minimum wage, but actually paying workers a living wage so that they're able to lead a decent life, they're able to feed and send their children to school, and that they're working in safe working conditions as well. So we've actually seen an upward trend in the last year. We've now expanded to 25,000 companies in our 25th anniversary year. And we're hopeful, despite some of the global challenges that we're facing, that this movement will keep growing, because it's a very needed movement. Climate change is a existential threat to the planet, and the private sector have an enormous role to play in helping the world and governments solve those challenges, reducing emissions, and equally social goals. Companies are major employers of people. They sell us the products that we enjoy buying. They have a lot of packaging which can pollute the planet, or if they use sustainable packaging, can make a difference. So it's really a growing initiative, and there's growing interest.
So looking ahead, Mr. Thomas, we know that 2030 is a critical milestone when it comes to climate change issues and achieving the SDG goals. What are the things or the critical steps companies must take if you're hoping to accelerate the process and, of course, the end game?
Well, I suppose the end game for the Sustainable Development Goals is 2030. It's a 15-year series agenda. The 2030 agenda, agreed incidentally by 196 governments at the United Nations. So that's why people refer to them as the UN Sustainable Development Goals. But actually, we see them as everybody's Sustainable Development Goals. The climate crisis is really something that has to be addressed. reducing emissions, increasing use of renewable energy and investing in renewable energy is obviously something that companies can play a leading role in, together with governments. So in some ways, that is the most pressing challenge for the world and anyone that lives in the world, including business.
Now that you've mentioned business, I'd like you to tell us about the Global Africa Business Initiative. What's that about?
This is an initiative of the Global Compact. We're coordinating it as part of the UN family. There are other UN agencies involved. But essentially, we're creating a platform for African businesses to really take their rightful place in the heart of the global economy. We're convening governments, business leaders, and civil society to really bring investment into Africa, onto the continent, in order to allow Africa to play its role in driving the global economy. And we're also working with the African diaspora. There's many diaspora very interested in supporting African business, investing in this continent. And so that's a way of bringing them in to lead the charge and to really give Africa a leading role in global development and the global economy.
And we know that we have challenges around administration, logistics, agreements, and of course building that ecosystem for growth in Africa. So are you saying that this initiative will be helping indigenous companies in Nigeria to deal with those challenges, to open that vista
Absolutely.
for foreign involvement and participation?
Well, hopefully foreign investment coming in, but really about empowering African businesses to trade with each other across borders, but also outside the country exporting, give them a visibility on a global level, so that their brands, the work that they're doing, can really shine at a global level, and give it that global recognition that is often lacking. A lot of the big brands of the world seem to be in other places, but we recognize that with this youthful population on the continent, especially in Nigeria, there's enormous potential on this continent. And if only the investment was made, entrepreneurs were given the chance and the funding to get them off the ground and started in the same way as they are in other places, Africa can really drive the future of the global economy.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dan Thomas, for sharing your thoughts with us, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
So we go on a short break on the news right now. When we return, EFCC arraigns ex-Abia Governor Theodore Orji over alleged 47 billion naira fraud. We'll bring you the details in a short while. So stay with us. Bringing you other stories now, residents of Asaba, Delta State capital, south of Nigeria, have raised concerns about security threats on the Coca flyover interchange in Asaba. The residents say they are worried by rising robbery attacks and thefts by suspected destitutes occupying the facility day and night. News Central's correspondent, Austin Azu, tells us more.
This is Coca interchange here in Asaba, the Delta State capital. Behind me, you can see some young individuals sitting down, eating, standing, and loitering about this facility. However, most of them spend their nights here. What could be their reasons?
And to see us for here now sleep, we sleep for a bit and say no house, nothing. And we are here now see us like, unless now government or people make human sympathy, we can't carry food, they can't give us. Now so they manage.
Now the condition we make us stay here. No be say we like to stay here, but now based on how the things be, easy for us. Now it make us stay here.
I come out here to look for what me and my baby will eat. Then we'll go back in the night.
Some respondents say those living under the bridge are behind these pockets of robbery and theft in the area, even as they are calling on the state government and security agencies to increase security presence, improve lighting, among others, recommendations to clean up the area.
Let Sheriff come to this Coca, come under flyover. These people that thief people phone, collect their bag, collect their things. Let them come and pursue them away, because they will stay from morning till night. They will no walking. Then make him come there, come and remove them.
because we are tired of it. Every day, thief.
You will observe that environment is too dirty, and especially those guys and sleeping around. It's very dangerous in the midnight. Maybe sometimes if you are coming back late hour, you'll be scared of even moving around here because of those guys.
Meanwhile, the state PPRO brightened up their appeals to residents of the state capital to report to the police suspected hoodlums around that corridor or any part of the state.
As far as the command is concerned, we've not been recording cases of either phone snatching, pickpocketing, or armed robbery at that interchange. However, if at all it is happening, I would advise members of the public who have been victims of these two reports, because it is the information that they give to us that will help us to checkmate the activities of whoever is there or doing any of such.
The State Commissioner for Environment, Ejuro Jamani, reveals the state government's plan of remodeling the Coca Interchange and remove all destitutes occupying the facility.
So after the completion of the beautification of that Coca Interchange, I bet you will not see any fly there again. One fly you will not see there, because on my own I've gone there series of time to chase them out. Once you chase them out, in the next hour they are back there. Sometimes we do arrest them.
Authorities say residents of Asaba will, in the days ahead, see the transformation that the state government intends to achieve with the Coca Interchange. In Asaba, for News Central, Austin Azu.
In the meantime, the European Union and several other peace-building stakeholders have called for an end to violence and criminality being witnessed in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. This was during an engagement with stakeholders in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where peace-building experts expressed worry, saying that the region, known for large volumes of proven hydrocarbon reserves, has continued to suffer from piracy, pipeline vandalism, oil theft, amongst others. Amadin Uyi reports.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region has approximately about 35 billion barrels of proven oil reserves. The region, despite being regarded as the nation's hydrocarbon kitchen, has now become known as an epicenter of violence, crime, and criminality.
The region has been bedeviled with multifaceted environmental and security challenges. This has subjected the region to prolonged volatilities with significant adverse effect on the local populace and government infrastructures within the region.
In 2024, several communities in Rivers, Delta, Bayelsa, Imo, and Abia states, among other states, were identified as notorious locations for illegal oil bunkering and other related activities.
In a bid to reverse this trend, the European Union and International Peace-Building Organization, the Search for Common Ground, commenced its peace-building initiatives with several communities in the region. As stakeholders converge on the nation's capital, Abuja, they say there is a need to ensure that the region is safe and peace is restored to communities.
This project is currently being implemented in 66 communities, which is a very large reach. It's a very large number of communities, but when you compare 66 communities to all of the communities within the Niger Delta region that have the same needs as the communities we're working in, it's just a drop in the bucket.
This dialogue is invaluable as it allows us to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and craft strategies that are both locally relevant and informed by best practices in global peace building.
Today, we have convened not only to reflect on our achievement, but also to share the latest insights for the implementation of the European Union-funded project titled A Community-Centered Approach to Transforming Criminality and Violence in the Niger Delta region.
Many in attendance expressed optimism that the project will support efforts aimed at ending crime and sustaining peace in the region.
We believe that it is possible to improve the security situation, and we believe that there should be ways to better manage the natural resources that God has blessed you with. Some people say it's actually a curse. I still believe it's a blessing.
Preventing criminality in the Niger Delta is a core goal, is something that we're all working for, whether from a security perspective, whether from a community building perspective, whether from a governance perspective, or whether from an environmental and climate change perspective.
Stakeholders here say with peace restored back to troubled communities, citizens can reap the benefits associated with billions of proven oil reserves. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
Let's now tell you that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned Theodore Orji, a former governor of Abia State, over alleged 47 billion naira misappropriation. Orji and 4 others were arraigned on a 16-count charge at the Abia State High Court on Friday. They pleaded not guilty to the charges. The anti-graft agency accused the 5 defendants of allegedly misappropriating 22.5 billion naira allocated for security votes from 2011 to 2015, stealing 13 billion naira from a loan facility granted by Diamond Bank and illegally converting 12 billion naira from the Paris Club refund. The EFCC also alleged that the defendants converted 10.5 billion naira from a loan granted by the First Bank of Nigeria, which was meant for the Abia State government and its local government areas. The matter has been adjourned to June 18 and 19, 2025 for trial. And right now on your screen, you can see the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, having a session with the Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky in a crunch talk as regards the way forward, looking at the truce pact hoping to be signed between Russia and Ukraine.
What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. Guys, come on, let's go. We'll see, I don't know. All right, guys, come on. Wait, hey, come on, guys, come on. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, sir. Well,
And that's all on the news at this hour. Don't forget to watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. I am Lekon Obanjo. Many thanks for watching.